Hi folks, this is Rose from In Rose's Garden, and today we are going to make two bookmarks, a small hook bookmark and a larger hook bookmark, using beads and from our SoftFlex Design Challenge Kit, Birds of a Feather. So let's turn down and we'll get working on the first one. So here is our hook we're going to use. Oh, I didn't get a jump ring out. We'll need to do that still. Oh, I can just do it right now. And we're going to, I need the jump ring because we need to hook our bead strand onto our bar here. So there's our jump ring to hook it right here. We've got some bone SoftFlex medium. 019. So that's the color we're going to use. I have a little dragon for the bottom of our bookmark. Of course, we have a couple of crimp tubes. We need one for either side. We have the big cobalt bead, one of the cobalt beads from out of the bead mix. I've got some bead caps for either side of that. And then either side of that will be one of these Dalmatian jaspers. Then these rondelles will be on the end because this little bunch of beads, like so, and then one of the silver ball spacers is going to be on either side, like that's going to go like, come on, you get in the right direction here with this one down here at the bottom, and then our dragon will be down there. So let's cut us a little bit of SoftFlex off and start stringing this baby up. So we need about, I usually cut a couple of inches beyond either side of where I want to be at so that I have working room. I'd rather throw some wire away than get to the end and not have enough room to put them on to here. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to feed on a crimp tube, and then I'm going to go with my dragon. I tend to start at the bottom. You don't have to. You can start at the top if you prefer, but I usually start at the bottom. Now that I've got this crimp tube on, make sure that it's not twisted in here. It doesn't appear to be. Then I get my crimping pliers out. I use the magical crimpers. They have a divot in the middle. We put our crimp tube. It'll only work with 2x2s right in the middle of that, and then squish, and then turn it, and squish again, and roll it around. Just keep squishing until it's not squishing anymore. It's not now, and it's formed a small ball. So now the next thing I want to do is, well, I'm going to trim this off some. I want it to go into the rondelle, but I don't think it'll go into those tiny beads twice, so we'll just clip some of that off. Feed it into the rondelle. Now this bird is a slightly different bird than I'm sure they meant when they said birds of a feather, but I find that the dragons are very popular little beasts. And I think that is multiplied by the fact that they've had Game of Thrones and now House of the Dragon, I guess it's called, out, which are very popular shows from what I understand. And so now the dragons have even become more popular than they've always been. So these babies on here. Now, I don't use these tiny beads a lot on things, but they do make a nice contrast between the larger size beads. Anyway, I think they do. Now, see, I didn't need even that much. I could have done without another inch or so, but there is our bead strand. Isn't that pretty? And it's going to hang right here. And it's about the length I want it because I like the things to go to about the end of our blank here. So the last thing we need to do, well, not quite the last thing, we need to crimp this on. And we're going to crimp the jump ring on at the same time. And once we have the jump ring on this crimped here and the jump ring on here, we can then hook it up to our blank here. Okay, I think that's pretty good. You'll notice I sort of used my jump ring as a fulcrum, so it was holding it in the bead strand in place and let it come down and around clearly. There we go. Now we'll test it. Seems pretty tight. Cut this extra wire off. And now we're ready to hook it on to our blank. So we'll open up our jump ring that we've already placed onto here. Go through our hole that's in our blank. Let the blank drop to the mat so that you have more control over the jump ring here. And then close it up. Now you want to look at it, make sure it's closed good. This one is not quite. I can see a little gap there. So I'm going to work it a little bit till I hear them scrape together. There, I just did. And there we go. There is our dragon bookmark. All finished. Isn't that one pretty? Let's set this one aside and get to work on the second one. Here are the pieces for the second one. So our first one, sit right over here on the side of our mat. And I have switched to dark blue lapis for this one since we have a lot of blue beads. So actually this jump ring looks sort of pretty well locked, so I'm probably going to just leave that on. But this piece here is going to be our middle. Then we're going to have these washer spacers on either side of it. Where's the other? There we go. Ding. Then we will have these large rondelles. With these larger daisy spacers. Go there, baby. Then we're going to have this champagne cube. The smaller daisy spacer here. Stay up there. And then the cobalt again. And then we're going to have this crystal spacer with the pearl on either side here. and our charm is going to be our feather. So this one's going to be a little longer than I usually like them, but I like all these beads and I don't want to get rid of any of them. So we'll probably let it be longer. So next thing we want to do, of course, is get out our beading wire. And like I say, I want a little extra, so we'll cut her right about here. And then we're going to put on our feather. Bring this up. Make sure that the wires are not twisted. Get the loop down to where you want it, and then take your crimping pliers and crimp that baby up. Get out of the way, feather. Okay, there we go. Now we just start stringing those beads in the order that I have them here. Hopefully this pearl will accept both wires. I'm not sure that it will, but it may, since it's a glass pearl as opposed to a real pearl. There it goes. I didn't think it was going to for a minute there, but it looks like she's going to. Well, possibly. It went in, but it's not moving. Come on, baby. And since I don't really want to trim the wire, I'm going to reverse my positions and put this blue one in here first. And then we'll have our crystal spacer, and then this blue pearl. Now we'll have our daisy spacer, our crystal, our square crystal, the next daisy spacer, large rondelle, washer spacer, tube, washer spacer, big rondelle, daisy spacer, champagne cube, daisy spacer. And if you'll recall, this is where we made our change, so we have to put the pearl in first now, then our crystal spacer and our cobalt crystal. Now this is going to go up to here, and it actually isn't going to be that much longer than I would have liked it to be, so that's fine. But like I say, I do have plenty of extra wire here, so you wouldn't have had to have used this much wire. Now I am going to change that probably, so I'm going to just go through here and we'll come up and make sure this is about where you want it, and then we will crimp it. Turn. we go. Now we'll cut this excess wire off. And we have our bead strand. Now we just have to hook it on. So if I'm going to open this, I'm probably just going to change it to a different, to a larger oval. So let's drop one of these out. And then we'll open this one up. Open our oval up. Go through our wire here where we have left the loop. Now we need to go through our blank. Drop it to the mat so that it's more sturdily where you want it. And then work it into position. And there is bookmark number 2. Both of these using the beads from the SoftFlex Design Challenge Kit. Birds of a feather. Aren't those pretty? So we have now made our 2 bookmarks using our SoftFlex Design Challenge Kit, Birds of a Feather. Here we go. The one which is the gold, which was the color in the kit. And then this one was silver. I changed it to silver. I think it turned out really pretty with our little dragon on the bottom here. And our jasper and such up here. That again is our silver one with our dragon. And then the second one was the gold one with the feather that was in the kit. All these beads are from in the kit, and I think it turned out really pretty. Now this one has a bag in the wire. I'm thinking I will probably put a crimp cover over that as soon as I can find a gold crimp cover, but because I think that this is more of a gap than I want. So we will put a crimp cover in the gap, and that is our gold one. Very pretty, but actually let's turn back down, and we'll get that gold cap on that. Okay, I've got a gold crimp cover. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this in my pliers, like so. And then I'm going to push these all down so it leaves that gap there. And see, it's a pretty good sized gap. So instead of putting it over the crimp itself, I'm going to put it below it. Come on, baby, go on. Because when it's hanging, there is a ton of space here, and I didn't care for that. So we're going to just push that onto there. Come on, behave. Well, it doesn't seem to want to go on, but that's all right. We're going to make it, because I want this to go into that big gap of space right there. Oh, just did. And then squish it. And I think she slid sideways some, so I don't want that. So we'll wiggle it back into place. You might have to do that with your hands. I know I do it much better with my hands than with my pliers. 'Cause see how it's wiggled to this side up here? I need that to go back over there where it belongs. Okay, she's back over there now, so we want to just finish pushing our crimp cover in. There we go. And it's still left a slight gap, but it's not bad. Not bad enough anyway that I'm going to worry about it any. So there we go. There's our gold one back finished with a crimp cover in between the crimp and the bead, taking up that slack of space. So there we are, all finished again with the gold one. See how that took up that bit of gap of space up there at the top when I put this crimp cover on here? I just put it between the crimp and the bead, and it took that space away. Now, if I wanted to, I could push this up and add one here, but there's not quite enough room in the whole hollow spot right there for the crimp cover to go, so it would have to go over the crimp itself if I were to put another one down there. And I don't think it's necessary. So there we go. There is our gold bookmark with using our Birds of a Feather kit from a SoftFlex company. And again, here's the silver one. Hold still, guys, so you can be seen. This has been Rose from In Rose's Garden, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.